not even our costs. I'm Spencer Callahan. I'd like to help.
Spencer Callahan is the one to see. Call 387-2323.
LA 21-12670. Offices in Baton Rouge.
WNXX, Jackson, KNXX, Donaldsonville, and WDGL HD2 Baton Rouge. This hour brought to you by Spencer Callahan Injury Lawyers. LA 21-12681. Offices in Baton Rouge. Anytime. Anytime. A daily look at sports from our resident historian. Your sports break during your lunch break. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios. Here's Charles Hannegriff.
And a pleasant good afternoon. Welcome to Hanny Time 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. I'm Charles Hannegriff. Mario Jerez, Jacob Beck back with us today. A lot to get to. In about 15 minutes, we're going to go up to Kansas City. Jacob Hester is on site. We're going to see what's going on in KC right now as a draft about 7 hours away from starting. We're going to be at Don Juan's Cigar Bar tonight. Jimmy Ott's Game Time is going to be there. He and I are going to do that show. It's going to be a great time. Very much looking forward to it. Draft's one of my favorite nights of the year. So we'll be there. We're going to talk with Jacob. He's up in Kansas City. Then at the bottom of the hour, Ken Trahan, our friend from Crescent City Sports and the general manager of the Saints Hall of Fame, will be with us. We'll get his thoughts on what New Orleans might do tonight. And I had, figured this would be all draft today, but then word came down that there was going to be an official announcement today on Haley Van Lith. And that came just less than about an hour ago, maybe a little bit less than an hour ago. Haley Van Lith, who has been the star player for Louisville's women's basketball team for the last 3 years, has officially committed to LSU. Van Lith, over the last 2 years, I'm just giving you the numbers from last year, 19.7 points per game. She shot 41% from the floor. She scored at least 21 points in all 3 rounds of the tournament, leading into their loss to Iowa. And she had 27 points in the game against Iowa. This was the player that Caitlin Clark was doing the John Cena thing to. And Van Lith, who has 2 years of eligibility remaining, by the way, has been on the All-ACC first team the past 2 seasons. This is perfect. If you're going to lose Alexis Morris and you need to replace her, there's probably not a better replacement for Alexis Morris anywhere in the country than getting somebody the caliber of Haley Van Lith. Now, this weekend, LSU is hosting another high-profile transfer from DePaul, named Anissa, I think is Anissa or Nessa. Morrow is a 6'1" forward who averaged 25 points and 12.2 rebounds for DePaul last season. She's 6'1". She was a third-team All-American, and LSU, lost some size with LaDacia Williams. I mean, this is not just going out and finding replacements for 2 of your most important players all season, but especially in the NCAA tournament. This is going out, if they do get Morrow, this is going out and getting top 10, top 15 players in the country to replace your outgoing seniors. I mean, she got everybody but, Sue Bird, it seems like, on this transfer portal deal. Mulkey was at the Rotary Club yesterday. What do you do when you win a national championship and you have all the political capital in the world? You ask for stuff. And she wants the PMAC either renovated or demolished so that they can build something new. I thought Scott Rabelais, he's going to be with us tomorrow. I thought he had a good point. This is very similar to what happened when Nick Saban got to LSU. The first thing he said was, the players don't have any place to hang out. We need a football-only facility. Now, in 2023, that sounds entirely reasonable. Everybody's got one now. But in 1999, when Saban took the job without having toured the campus, got here and looked at it and said, this is no good. This is one of the big reasons why you guys ain't winning. You need a better facility. His point, well made, was that there was going to be no team bonding if they had to go in 10 different directions as soon as practice was over or before practice. I know that, a lot of people remember this, but the younger fans won't. LSU, for football practice, as recently as 1999, actually maybe even a little bit more recently than that, dressed at Tiger Stadium, got on the school buses, okay, and went over to the practice facility. And the idea of a football-only practice facility was outlandish at the time because LSU had just built the Lawton Room at considerable cost, and they had just redone the weight room on the north end of Tiger Stadium, and that was a pretty significant capital expenditure for LSU at the time because Joe Dean didn't want to pay to fix anything. And the facility had fallen into such a state of disrepair, and I remember we called it Saban Land. It's like, oh, Saban wants to build his own private facility after they've just spent all this money on meeting rooms and weight rooms and all that. They're not going to do that. And Saban was like, yeah, you are. And he convinced everybody that he needed to convince, and Joe Dean was on his way out at the time. And it's like, listen, the place needs more than just a fresh coat of paint. You are so far behind. This is in 1999. What Saban told him. So they got to work on it. He never got to coach out of that building, but Les Miles reaped all the benefits of it. This is a significantly larger undertaking than just even the football facility, which was a major undertaking. She wants a new building. I'm not sure she's not going to get it. They can move the track over near, over onto the other side of Nicholson Drive, somewhere in the vicinity of Alec Box Stadium, and put the new building where the track stadium is. That's feasible. Very expensive. Going to take a long time. Ordinarily a project of that size might take so long that I don't know if Kim Mulkey would even get to coach in the building. This is one of those projects from the time you say, go build this, to the time you actually dribble a basketball in the place, could be 10 years. I don't know how much longer how long she plans to coach. I hope she coaches forever. If there's ever been a 90-year-old women's basketball coach, Kim Mulkey would probably be the first one. But it's got a lot of similarities to that. And she continues to recruit at this level, to drum up interest at this level, to sell tickets at this level, to induce donations at this level. I got that one right, okay? When she got the $2 million plus salary, I said, well, women's basketball will never be able to make up that deficit in revenue. I said, yeah, they will. You might not see it publicly, but the donation, she is one of the best fundraisers I've ever seen. So you go and you say, hey, I won you a national championship in my second year. You want to win another one? Go build me a building. Write me a check. She's very persuaded. I did take a little offense to something she said yesterday. She said that the Assembly Center is very, very old. You know why I took offense to that? It opened a month after I was born. So, I mean, it's kind of like, hey, Kim, just, be nice, be somewhat respectful. It's been a good building for a while. But, and if it may not be a new building completely. It may be a head-to-toe renovation of the PMAC. But rest assured, something is going to happen because she's not gonna stop until she gets everything that she wants and needs to keep this as the best program in the country. That's what you hired. You hired, the best basketball coach you could possibly hire here, and she's proven it again. She wins the national championship. She just went out and got the best player in the portal. She's got the number 1 recruiting class coming in. She's got the number 2 player in the portal on campus this weekend. Wouldn't surprise me if we led the show on Monday or Tuesday with another commitment, highly recruited commitment in Anissa Morrow on Monday or Tuesday to LSU. She's that good. So go find some money. Go build her whatever it is that she wants, because she's obviously getting the job done. All right, NFL draft. We'll get you up to date on some of the odds. Man, the information and disinformation as you get into the final hours before the draft, really something. The new mock drafts that are coming out with the latest information. Everybody seems convinced that Houston is not going to take a quarterback at number 2, but nobody has come up with a definitive on who they will take. You get kind of a split of opinion in Tyree Wilson and Will Anderson. Arizona wanting to trade out of the number 3 spot. Could be with Indy, could be with Tennessee, could be with Las Vegas. A lot of conjecture there. So we're going to talk about that with both Ken Trahan and Jacob Hester. One other story I wanted to get to, and this just came across about an hour and a half ago. Did you watch any of Alabama's spring football game? I didn't watch any of it. I did see the highlights, and what they wanted to spotlight in the highlights was just how bad Alabama's quarterbacks looked. Apparently, Nick Saban took that to heart, because about an hour and a half ago, Tyler Buchner, who was Notre Dame's starting quarterback at the beginning of last year but got hurt in the second game and missed most of the season, announced that he is going to Alabama. If you watched in the Gator Bowl, he had 5 touchdowns for Notre Dame against South Carolina. He was a very, very highly rated prospect coming out of high school, and right now he's got 3 seasons of eligibility left. Alabama needs a quarterback. He was considered to be the best quarterback left in the portal, and Alabama gets him. Tyler Buchner headed to Tuscaloosa. This is what great coaches do. They go, hey, who's the best player out there? Who fits us the best? Go get him. That's what great coaches do. Mulkey did it this morning. Unfortunately, Nick Saban did it did this morning as well. It can't all be good news, Mario. Come on. I mean, you gotta at least, you got to take the good with the bad.
Yeah,
look on the bright side. You could be a Milwaukee Buck fan this morning.
You could. Checks and balances are important. Shout out to the Heat.
I do not know how in the world they got that pass off to Jimmy Butler. That is the best pass I think I've seen all NBA season. It had to be exactly where it was, exactly when it was. If they went out and practiced that play against air, they might only, completed exactly like that 2 out of 10, 3 out of 10. It's easy. I mean, an inch, and that's it.
Insane.
And the Heat lose.
Insane.
But they complete the pass, and of course Jimmy Butler makes the bucket, falling down. They go to overtime, and the Heat eliminate the Bucks. Huge upset in the first round of the NBA playoffs. We'll take a break. When we come back, we're going to Kansas City. Jacob Hester with us when we come back. It's Hanny Time, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
Each year, Guarantee Media hosts a radiothon to benefit Dreams Come True, the local organization that grants dreams to Louisiana kids suffering life-threatening illnesses and their families. We've interviewed these incredible kids, and their stories warm our hearts. And none of it would be possible without your help. So we're asking for your support in our effort to making more dreams come true. Each year, our Dreams Come True radiothon is powered by the Baton Rouge Clinic. Visit GuaranteeMedia.com to pledge your support today, and thank you.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO of Walker.
Hi, my name is Dr. Craig Green.
This is Ryan Terrio with HUDCORoofing.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. No matter how big your commercial roofing job, HUDCO can help.
My patients come to me because they trust that I can get the job done at a high level. Ryan Terrio and Richard Tilley have the same level of trust when it comes to roofing.
If you have a roofing issue, call HUDCO Roofing.
Give us a call, 364-1007, and we'll come to your house and give you a free inspection.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's that time again. It's heating up. Your boat's getting ready to come out and spend all summer on the water. It's time to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service, where if you want an incredible custom speaker install, it's going to blow people away in the water, that's there for you. You want an HD sonar where you can see the fish under the water before you cast, beat all your friends, that's there for you at front-to-back boat service. So don't put it off. We got the parts in right now. Get them now before they go back on back order. Front-to-back boat service.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
On Friday's OTB, we'll recap all the NFL draft round 1 action and look forward to rounds 2 and 3, plus get you ready for baseball in the box. LSU, Bama, off the bench, 7 to 10 a.m., 104.5 ESPN.
.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and the Baton Rouge Clinic bring you the Dreams Come True Radiothon. Dreams Come True is an organization designed to help grant dreams for children with life-threatening illnesses and their families. The Dreams Come True Radiothon is presented today by Service Chevrolet. Remember, for every $5 donated, you get an entry into our raffle. You can win an Aaron and Austin Nola autographed bat, ball, and picture, or a Justin Jefferson autographed LSU helmet. Donate today at 1045ESPN.com.
This is Hanny Time with Charles Hannegriff on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
No Hannycast today. We're pushing that to tomorrow after the first round of the draft. The Baseball at the Box podcast presented by Napa is up right now with our preview of LSU versus Alabama. Let's go up to Kansas City. NFL draft a little less than 7 hours away. Jacob Hester is on site. Jake, give me the layout up there, man. What does it look like draft in Kansas City?
Hey, what's going on, Hanny? Well, the whole city has definitely bought in. There's no question about that. You can't turn anywhere without seeing an NFL draft sign. The fans, the Kansas City fans, are out in full force, as they should be, as the defending world champion there. But Casey has done a really nice job. The area right surrounding the draft is already up and ready. They got a ton of stuff for kids, and so Kansas City certainly has done it right so far.
Is this in the vicinity of Arrowhead Stadium, which shares a parking lot with the baseball stadium, or is it somewhere completely different in Kansas City?
No, it's somewhere completely different. As you know, Haney, I'm sure you've been there before.
I've been a few times, yeah.
Yeah, in Kaufman. They're not anywhere close to anything. They're kind of in the middle of nowhere. So it's a different part of Kansas City, and a lot of us are kind of in the plaza area where a lot of the players and the agents and different people are. So it's kind of cut out a little, but they've done a nice job of trying, piece this together as they.
Whoa. Let's see wherever you were standing, move back there because you just went through sound like a time warp. All right, so what's the buzz? Everything seems to be waiting on Houston in the number 2 pick. Most of the buzz is that they won't take a quarterback, but there's split on who they might pick, and of course there's a possibility of trades into either the number 2 spot or the number 3 spot. What's the latest you're hearing?
Yeah, so Houston's very interesting because, they feel like they have an option, but I'm just not sure how you cannot select the quarterback if I'm the Texans. I think it's a real need for you. There's some edge rushers, certainly, that a lot of people love in this draft, and you've got multiple there that are worthy of a number 2 pick potentially, but I just think you got to go quarterback. I think with a new coach, you love to tie him to kind of a quarterback. You grow together, you develop together. So I'd still be surprised if they don't take a quarterback right there. Although all the buzz, and you're right, Will Anderson has certainly been somebody that they've talked about at that spot. Tyree Wilson, he's always kind of been in a first-round grade, top 15 player, but he has skyrocketed up the boards there, and he is one of the favorites to be the number 2 pick when you look at some of the betting odds there. But if I'm Houston, I'm going quarterback. Even though everything here, you're hearing it's trending that they're going to go edge rusher, I just can't fathom them not taking a quarterback at 2. But look, it's not a franchise that has been the most well-run franchise, and so maybe they decide to go somewhere else. But Houston, for me, when you have quarterbacks right there on the board, again, breaking into D'Amico Ryans as your head coach, I always love that kind of combination coming in together.
If they don't take a quarterback at 2, is the thinking that they can get an elite pass rusher at 2, but they cannot get one at 12? They don't get a quarterback at 2. There'll be at least one of those quarterbacks left there. It may be Hendon Hooker, but there'll be at least one. And there's always the possibility that one other quarterback would slide down to them. Is that D'Amico Ryans' thinking because he's got a long-term contract there? He's got a little bit of political capital there. He can develop a quarterback, but that edge rusher of the caliber of those 2 guys you're talking about won't be there at 12.
Yeah, it just depends on, how much roulette you truly want to play there, because you're right. Like, you can hope and wish maybe somebody's there at 12 as far as a quarterback, and you can move up if you want to. If you wanted to move up a couple of spots, obviously, to get ahead maybe of a team like Tennessee that could be looking at a quarterback, or you could just kind of do it the other way. Take the quarterback at 2, Hanny, and then at 12, you hope a guy like Nolan Smith from Georgia might be there. So you're kind of rolling the dice either way. It depends on, what do you want to make sure? Do you feel better about the quarterback or the edge rusher? Because that's where you go at number 2 pick, whatever game changer you have circled on your draft board, and then you just have to hope. Because you're right, there's going to be a big drop-off, even as good as Nolan Smith is, and I think he is a top 15 type player. I don't think he's in the same category as a Will Anderson. So that's going to be the thing. Yeah, it's going to be, how do you view it and how do you want to roll the dice?
Another big wild card in what I think is going to be the top 10 is Jalen Carter, the defensive tackle from Georgia. Jake, there are teams that have him at the very top of their draft board, and there are teams, because of the off-the-field stuff, that have taken him off their board altogether. Yeah. I could think of a half a dozen spots just in the top 10 that he could possibly end up. What's the buzz on Jalen Carter?
Yeah, I think you're right. I think when you look at some of the teams, they can't deny the talent, even though there's still, off the field things that are going on. I mean, not many times, Haney, do you have a player that has to leave the NFL Combine to turn himself in and then tries to go back to Indy to finish that process. And so obviously there's still questions that have to be answered. But the teams that like him, they don't just like him, they love him. I mean, he is a top 5 type prospect. And so if you're a team that feels like the things off the field will be handled and the things won't be something that hinders him as far as on the field, because make no mistake, I mean, this is very serious things that are going on off the field, then you still have him as a top talent. And he's a player that could shake up that top 10. I look at a couple of players, Jalen Carter and where he goes, because of the talent. Like, if he goes 3 overall, now nobody really has that at this moment, but he's that kind of talent. If we would have said that, 4 months ago that he would go top 3, everybody would be like, okay, well, that tracks. Well, because of the things that have happened, like, it's like, where's he going to go? So he could throw obviously a wrench there in the first round, in the first 5 picks, first 10 picks, certainly. And then Bijan Robinson, the running back. Look, I know a lot of people like to hate on my position. I realize that it's been devalued. I understand all that. But, Hanny, if we're talking about just pure football players in this draft, he might be the top overall player for me. I mean, he's that kind of back. When you break down what he can do for your team, he gives you so much value. He gives you value on all 3 downs. Now, again, because of the position he plays, he might go 8 to Atlanta. He might go 10 to Philly, but he could throw a big wrench into the plans if a team really loves him, if they select him before you get to Atlanta. I think even Atlanta would be a little bit of a surprise, and then who knows what follows after that. But, look, this is someone that ran for almost 1,600 yards. Over 1,000 of those yards, Hanny, came after contact. And we know he's a 4.46 guy, so he can run by you as well. He is as complete of a back as we've had in probably the last 5 or 6 drafts. So that's a player, too, that a team falls in love with him. They say, you know what, I don't really care about the running back stigma. We're going to select him. He could also change a lot of draft boards as well.
I don't mean to throw you a curveball here because it's not a guy that a lot of people are talking about, but just in the last couple of days, one of the big movers, this guy was not mocked in very many first rounds up until just a handful of days ago, and now he is minus 500 to be a first-round pick. This is the offensive tackle from Oklahoma, Anton Harrison. Jake, he has just skyrocketed. I don't know if teams were keeping it quiet, but it's gone from he's going to be a second-round pick to he might sneak into the first round to now he's in the teens. He's minus 500 to be a first-round pick. I mean, what's the buzz on him?
Yeah, and this is a player, I'll be completely honest with you, Hanny. If I'm rating my offensive tackles, I got it right here in front of me, I've got him like in that 6 or 7 range as far as offensive tackles. And so I'm not sure what possibly could have changed from the last time that we have seen him until now. And that's not to say that he's a bad football player, but I just got other players. But you're talking about him being selected over guys like Darnell Wright, maybe of Tennessee, Broderick Jones from Georgia, now Paris Johnson's also someone that has really just skyrocketed over the last couple of days. He is about in the overall rank, about 15. Certainly he's been the number 2 tackle on a lot of big boards, but I'm seeing him get odds at possibly 3 to the Cardinals, Hanny. So he's moved up draft boards as well. But as far as Harrison is concerned, I don't see it. I don't see top 32 player right now on the tape. I see certainly top 60 player on the tape. And so I just don't know what in the world could have changed because we've all watched the same tape. We've all broken down the same player. And I just don't know how he's found himself. Even like Bergeron from Syracuse, Matthew Bergeron, I've got him ahead of Harrison. And that's a player that's right at like 49, 50, 51 on my overall board. So I'm not sure what's happened, but it is certainly something that is growing here because I actually heard a conversation about him from some scouts when I was eating brunch this morning. So I don't know what he did, but whatever he did or whatever his agent did, they've done it well.
All right, last thing. What are you hearing on the Saints? Mickey Loomis earlier this week, he was asked the question, says the question started, you have 8 picks in this year's draft. He goes, right now, which, tells me, of course, that, the Saints are forever, perpetually in trade up mode. Jake, who would be a player that realistically the Saints could move up to get? I think that they could move maybe as many as 10 spots, into the late teens, but I don't know that they've got enough to get up any higher than that. Who's a name that makes sense that would be a player the Saints would covet that they could move up, say, 10 spots to get?
Yeah, and just because the Saints have moved up so many times, Hanny, obviously we expect them to do it. And if you're looking at Cansey from Pitt, it's like, okay, well, that's a player. He's the number 2 defensive tackle in this draft. How much do you love him? And do you love him more than Benton from Wisconsin, Brzee from Clemson? Like, do you love him that much? More than those players where you feel like you have to move up to select that player? Like, that's going to be a big question. I think you can, honestly, my personal opinion, I think you can stay at 29. I think you're going to have a quality defensive tackle that is ranked about where that spot is. And then at 40, you can take the tight end that we all know that you want. In the 3rd or 4th round, you can take a running back. This running back class is incredibly deep, but so is this tight end class. So unless you just are head over heels over one of the defensive tackles, there's 3 that I would put in that group. I think you stay pat, because I just don't know that there's a player that is worthy to move up 8-10 spots, select that player, maybe lose number 40, where I think you can get a tight end. And a tight end, maybe it's Luke Musgrave from Oregon State. Maybe it's Darnell Washington from Georgia. Maybe it's Sam Laporta from Iowa. There's a quality player at that position at 40. And I think if you stay where you're at, you get a quality defensive tackle and the tight end, and then you get the back in the third or fourth round. So I know it's not popular. I want the Saints to stay where they're at, unless, somehow, and we've seen this happen, Jalen Carter, right, the off-the-field stuff, he's fallen. He's sitting there at 17, 18, and you really feel like that's the player that you want to go get. Outside of that, I just don't know that I would make that move.
Look, I was with you all the way until you got to Carter. I ain't trading up 10, 15 spots for a guy who can't finish his pro day workout. Okay? Come on, man. I do have some good news for you, though. I think Jamar Gibbs is going to go in the first round. So I think you're going to get your second running back in Cincinnati. Watch Cincinnati with Gibbs at 28. Jake, enjoy the draft. We'll be checking back in with you from time to time. Have a safe trip back.
Absolutely. Sounds good, Hanny. Appreciate you, brother.
We'll take a break. We come back. Ken Trahan from Crescent City Sports is with us. We're talking more draft. This is Hanny Time, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hanny Time.
Infinity of Baton Rouge. Right now, they'll buy your car right off the street, and it will take them less than 15 minutes to get a quote for you. You get a quote on your vehicle. You don't have any pressure to trade it in, but that's one of your options. You can sell it for cash. You get into the certified pre-owned program, which I've lauded so many times because I love it. Listen, that first-year maintenance is taken care of. That roadside assistance is included, and you're going to have a courtesy car when you bring your vehicle in for maintenance. These are certified pre-owned vehicles that have been through such a rigorous inspection that you can give a 100,000-mile powertrain warranty to go with them. You can specify your pricing, your make and model, the number of miles you got on the car, the year that the vehicle was made. They're going to find one especially just exactly what you want. That's been my experience every time I've gone. So, Airline Highway, Acura, and Infinity of Baton Rouge.
Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
For over a century, local broadcasting has evolved with the needs of the community. We move past the stigmas of opinion journalism and bring the most relevant news online, on air, and on the go. You have trusted us with your news, sports, weather, and entertainment. Trust us to keep moving with you. Text TB to 52886 and tell Congress local broadcasting is here to stay.
Bayou Ford has $2,000 off MSRP, plus 2.9% APR for 84 months on new 22 Ford Expeditions. And all new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO of Walker.
Hi, my name is Dr. Craig Green.
This is Ryan Terrio with HUDCORoofing.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. No matter how big your commercial roofing job, HUDCO can help.
My patients come to me because they trust that I can get the job done at a high level. Ryan Terrio and Richard Tilley have the same level of trust when it comes to roofing.
If you have a roofing issue, call HUDCO Roofing.
Give us a call, 364-1007, and we'll come to your house and give you a free inspection.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust Poll of the Day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, Hanny Time, Hunt Palmer. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the Poll of the Day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
So join me for a Thursday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. Get you ready for the NFL Draft. What are the Saints going to do? And Joe Healy of D1 Baseball joins us to preview the SEC weekend to come. Hunt Palmer Show, 1 to 3 weekdays, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hanny Time with Charles Hannegriff on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Draft party tonight, Don Juan's Cigar Bar. We'll start it at 6 o'clock with Jimmy Ott's Game Time. Joining us now from CrescentCitySports.com and the general manager of the Saints Hall of Fame is our friend Ken Trahan. Ken, good afternoon. How are you?
Hey, Charlie, doing fine.
Always an exciting day with the draft, and the Saints getting back into that first round makes it a little bit more interesting for us tonight, obviously. So I know you've looked at all of the mocks, you've looked at all of the players in the bullpen. If the Saints stay at 29, which is hardly a certainty, who makes sense? Who could be there? Fills a need? Is a Saints kind of guy?
A lot of names pop up because you're waiting until 29, which in fact they likely won't because they always trade up, and that was made clear yesterday that they could do so again because that's their philosophy. But if they stayed at 29, guy that could be there that makes a lot of sense is Mozzie Smith, the defensive tackle out of Michigan. He's a beast. He's physical as can be, mauls people. He's 6'3", about 335, and really fills the need, departure of David Onyemata and Shai Tuttle. Very physical guy. A lot of people are pointing toward Brian Brisee of Clemson, and of course he's another huge guy that fills some of the same needs that you're talking about. He's pretty athletic. Problem is he's had injury issues, and he really has not been a maximum performer. I'm big on performance. I mean, I've always felt that if you have an injury history at the college level, it's likely going to follow you into the professional level too. So that would be my cause for pause where that's concerned. I mean, there's other guys, but I do think that the Saints have 2 or 3 guys that they are targeting. They feel like there's 20 legitimate first-round picks. They pick 29. So say they get past 20, and there's a guy, one of those 2 or 3 guys that they love that's still not been picked, that they rank top 20, they're going to go up and try to get him. They've got some capital with 8 draft picks to utilize and could possibly utilize a future draft pick to do that. This is what they like to do, for better or for worse. They've hit and they've missed, but I wouldn't be surprised if they tried to trade up again.
What do you think is the maximum amount of picks that they could move up? How much ammunition do they have? Is it 8? Is it 10? Is it 12? And who would be somebody that would jump out at the Saints if they fell that far? Somebody who's been mocked maybe in the top 15 or so that gets to them in the late teens or early 20s.
Yeah, I think there's a couple of guys like that. Kalijah Cansey of Pitt, the defensive tackle, he's really good. And he's ranked as a top 15, top 20 player. If somehow he ended up slipping past 20, I think he definitely would be a guy that they would look at. Of course, Bijan Robinson out of Texas, whom LSU fans are extremely familiar with. He's a guy that he just has everything you're looking for. I mean, he has every single tool in the box. The guy's fast, he's big, he can run, he can catch, and he'll block. And he's the only absolute legitimate number one running back in this draft. Jahmyr Gibbs is really good from Alabama, as LSU fans know. He's not big, but boy, he's fast and he's good. That's another name to keep in mind. But yeah, I think if you're talking about that guy still there in the 20s, say at 22, 23 to 25, if somehow you get the Pitt defensive tackle slips that far, can't see, or you get Robinson, who's still there, which I doubt, then I certainly wouldn't be surprised if they tried to do that.
Let's look at some of the Louisiana guys. I think we believe B.J. Ojulari will be the first LSU guy off the board. But Tyjae Spears has been a name, the running back from Tulane, and what a season he had. And, of course, what a bowl game he had. I've heard this so many times that maybe I'm just starting to believe it, Ken, that, somewhere in the middle rounds he could find himself in a Saints uniform. You buying it?
Not necessarily buying it. I don't think it's out of the question. They certainly know him very well, and they went to his pro day, and the coaching staffs are friends, and Tulane practices in the Saints indoor facility quite a bit. So there's been a lot of exposure there. Tyjae is a really good player. Look, I did some of his high school games when he was at Ponchatoula, and I thought when he signed with Tulane, I thought Tulane just got a great get. I mean, this guy's SEC good, no question about that. And when you look at his ability, he plays bigger than he is. He's not small. I mean, he's 190, 195 by NFL standards, small, but not small per se. When you look at Saints history, look at the role Darren Sproles had here. We all know how big Darren Sproles was, and he was terrific. The Saints really need a second and third down guy. I mean, right now, Kamara is likely to be out for a pretty good period of time. I mean, everybody's thinking at least a half a year, if not more, depending on the legal scenario. They've got Jamal Williams, who's a good inside runner, obviously, but they need that guy that can go get the football out of the backfield. This guy's it. He can absolutely do that. Look, he's a very good player, and he's only improved his status. I mean, when you go and look at the postseason, what he did at the Senior Bowl, he knocked everybody's eyes out there, and a tremendous week. And then, of course, at the combine, in the workouts, he's shined. His speed is really good. His agility is outstanding, and again, he runs tougher than he is. That's pretty interesting because we all remember Clyde Edwards-Helaire going last in the first round of Kansas City. The concern was, can he take the pounding with the hits? And so far, that hasn't worked out that well because he's been hurt quite a bit. He's still a good player, and I think he's got great value in the league. So the running backs that aren't 200 pounds, that aren't that big, are always going to have to deal with that stigma. And we all know running backs don't get picked early. But I think Tyjae, at the very least, is a third-round pick, and I wouldn't be shocked if he slipped into the late second round.
Ken Trahan is our guest from Crescent City Sports. Ken, at the top of this draft, there's as much uncertainty after the first pick as in any year that I can remember. I can literally put 3 or 4 guys in every spot from 2 all the way down to probably 6 or 7, and they could go almost in any order. What are your thoughts about what Houston does and the domino effect past that in those top 5 picks?
I think that's going to determine everything. I mean, are they going to take Anderson or not? He's a great player. He's obviously a guy that can help their team. Or are they going to go for the quarterback? And if they do, it's C.J. Stroud. And the quarterback situation is obviously one that everybody pays attention to. It's such an intriguing position. Bryce Young is such a good player. He's got everything. He's got the mental aspect, the pre-snap ability to read. He can escape pressure. Runs well. Not an awesome runner, but we all know what the knock is. It's his height, and yet clearly it looks like he's going to be the number 1 pick. You look at Richardson, and Richardson is a dynamic athlete. He's gigantic. He can run, but he's never been a particularly enthrallingly accurate passer. So there's that. Then you look at Will Levis. The productivity level isn't what you'd like it to be, but Levis played behind a mediocre offensive line and not with a whole lot of weapons, right? So that's why it's not an easy evaluation when you look at these guys. You can have hits and you can have misses, but I think with Houston, look, I mean, Anderson certainly looks like the best player, but quarterback is the sexiest position. And of those 4 quarterbacks, the one that seems to have it all mastered is Stroud, because he does have the size, because he does have the arm, and because he does have the skins on the wall. His productivity level was outstanding, especially in big games.
Do you believe Hendon Hooker will go in the first round?
I do. I think he's a late first-round pick. The guy his character's off the charts. I mean, when you get an endorsement like he got from Archie Manning, that's pretty significant. And, look, the interviews that he's done, everybody loves the young man. The knee injury obviously circumvented everything, because I think prior to that, he's probably a top 15 or 20 pick for sure. based upon his productivity. I don't care about his age. I mean, I think that's a good thing because he's mature enough to step in, unlike most rookies, and maybe have a chance to play right away. Kenny Pickett did that for the most part last year, and he did a pretty good job with Pittsburgh, but that's hard to do. I think this guy, Hooker, would have that ability if, in fact, he's healed up. But I like him. I think he's a good player. He's a really good young man, and I think he's accurate. Just look at the numbers at Tennessee in terms of completion percentage and what he's been able to do. So, yeah, I like Hooker, and I would be surprised if he doesn't go, say 25 to 32.
I love the yards per attempt without having a huge number of turnovers. And Ken, I don't buy the age thing either. Will Levis is going to be 24 when the season starts, and nobody says a word about that. So I'm with you there. Let me turn our attention to the Saints' second pick. That is number 40, so it's high in the second round. This is a deep tight end class. At least 2 of them will be gone by that time, maybe 3, but it's a position that's got a lot of depth in this draft. The Saints would love to add somebody at that position. What do you think about 40 and one of the potential tight ends there?
That's a really good tight end draft. I mean, let's start there. It's a very deep draft for tight ends. That's why they probably won't have to go for the young man from Oregon State or Notre Dame, which will probably go earlier because there's more guys. They have Juwan Johnson. He's a good receiving tight end who's a breakout player, is an undrafted player. They invested in Adam Troutman, and that's been a mixed bag at this point, and this is his year to prove or not, really. So, yeah, I could see that happening. Not in the first round. I just don't think that that's a position that you want to invest in the first round unless you got somebody that absolutely positively overwhelms you in terms of who else is on the board. So, yeah, I think tight end makes sense, but it makes sense after the first round.
Yeah, I agree. If Kincaid or Mayer were there at 29, I'd be tempted at least, but I agree with you. There's guys that you can get there in the second round. Ken, we always appreciate the time. I know it's a busy day. Where are you going to be tonight for the draft?
I'll be Leslie's on site, and I'll be monitoring and writing all night long while it's transpiring after I finish with my radio show. So that'll be the kicker tonight, and we'll have 4 people: Al Dupuy, Leslie's, myself, Ed Daniels, everybody from Crescent City Sports will be covering and writing on it.
We always enjoy the time, Ken. Thank you so much for spending a few minutes with us today, and we'll talk to you next week.
My pleasure. Thanks so much, John.
Ken Trahan from Crescent City Sports. We'll take a break, come back, take some of your questions on a busy, busy day. Haley Van Lith going to LSU, the Louisville guard, committing to Kim Mulkey in the NFL draft tonight with our party at Don Juan's. This is Hanny Time, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hanny Time.
Big Mike's music lineup tonight. Jitterbug, Swamp Pop Jitterbug lesson starting tonight at 6 o'clock. Had a real good turnout for this. This has been, as I understand it, a lot of fun. Mario's really kind of mastered the trade now. Billy Harris on stage after that at 7 o'clock, and of course the draft will be on all of the TVs there. Jared Kelly on Friday with you live music at 8 o'clock, and on Saturday Titanium Rain makes their return at 8 o'clock. Live music every weekend at Big Mike's. Crawfish on the weekends now, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, coming out at 11 o'clock. If you like ball shrimp, all you can eat ball shrimp on Monday nights. Happy hour 3 to 7, Monday through Friday, and starting at 11 a.m. all day on Sunday. The Denham Springs Institution on Aspen. Big Mike's, we're kind of a big deal.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $15,000 off all new 2022 1500 SCA trucks. And all new Bayou automotive vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou is going to do right by you.
Hello, Samantha, dear, I hope you're feeling fine. And it won't be long until I'm with you all the time. But until then, I spend my money up right down on my last dime. Come home, live Baton Rouge. I'm ready, what you put me on through. Gotta send my love down to
All right, let's say ah.
Where'd my spotlight go?
Super weird, but we can take care of it.
Get in and get better at Patient Plus.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's that time again. It's heating up. Your boat's getting ready to come out and spend all summer on the water. It's time to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service, where if you want an incredible custom speaker install, it's going to blow people away in the water, that's there for you. You want an HD sonar where you can see the fish under the water before you cast, beat all your friends, that's there for you at front-to-back boat service. So don't put it off. We got the parts in right now. Get them now before they go back on back order. Front-to-back boat service.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Matt Moscona inviting you to join us for Thursday's AFR, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. It's draft day. Sal Palantonio of ESPN will join us. Gavin Dugas of LSU Baseball in studio. It's AFR 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and the Baton Rouge Clinic bring you the Dreams Come True Radiothon. Dreams Come True is an organization designed to help grant dreams for children with life-threatening illnesses and their families. Remember, for every $5 donated, you get an entry into our raffle. You can win an Aaron and Austin Nola autographed bat, ball, and picture, or a Justin Jefferson autographed LSU helmet, and a Justin and Jamar Chase framed wall print. Remember, the Dreams Come True Radiothon is presented today by Service Chevrolet, and you can donate today at 1045ESPN.com.
This is Hanny Time with Charles Hannegriff on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Into the Bayou Ford chat, some of the questions about tonight. Yeah, we're obviously looking forward to it. Everybody, wants to come out. We're going to be we'll be doing Jimmy's show from out there, starting at 6, and draft starts at 7. Saints not scheduled to pick until late in the night, but I'm almost anticipating a trade up. I can't tell you exactly who or for what. We did our mock draft on the Handycast yesterday, so that's posted. And I'll just tell you, I didn't put any trades into the mock, but that's what generally throws the mocks off, is one of the one of the teams that you don't expect to make a move jumps up. And then the second part is there's somebody that's complete. I guarantee you that there will be one pick in the first round tonight that is looked at as a third rounder by most of the draftniks. I mean, it happens every year, or at the very least a late second round pick, somebody that nobody has, and that's what can throw these things off. And yeah, there'll be some attire that we'll take care of. I'm not going to wear a staff shirt tonight. Ask Kenny, what was the name of your first radio show? My first radio show in Baton Rouge was Sports Today. We started that in 1994. Before that, I was on a show called the Sports Forum with Bruce Hunter, who had worked for the Advocate and wrote a number of books about LSU. And then we brought the name back when Jimmy and I teamed up back in 2012. The radio I did before that, I didn't have a show name. I was just a DJ, if you will. Let's see. I'll go to Don Juan's. If Hanny dresses like Island Hanny tonight, that's sort of taking on a life of its own. Yeah, I got a shirt picked out. My wife's going to let me out of the house wearing it, so I think. The good old days of sports talk radio. Yeah, we had a lot of fun back then. This is still a lot of fun.
Yeah,
it's still a pretty good way to to get from Monday to Friday.
I'm excited. It's going to be good vibes at Don Juan, man. The people, staff, it's going to be a good time.
It is. Jimmy's going to keep you up to date on all of the odds. Just what we've had in the last, and I can hear the music. Yeah, that's good.
Get the people that want.
You get these drastic odd switches when information comes in, and we've used the NBA scenario before with Paolo Banchero last year, just in the last half hour. What to got to give you an NFL kind of a comparison. This would be like 30 minutes before the draft. Not somebody completely out of left field, but maybe like all of a sudden it's like, wait a minute, this Bryce Young thing has all been the best orchestrated smokescreen of all time. They're taking and then plug in one of the other three quarterbacks. That I can't tell you 100% that won't happen. I think it's highly, highly, highly unlikely, but it could. And that second spot with Houston, they could be throwing the smokescreen out there that they're going to take a defensive guy. Arizona's dying to trade the pick, but are having, at least for the moment, a hard time finding somebody that wants to trade up into that spot. But when one of those quarterbacks goes after, if Young goes first, when the second quarterback goes, that's when I think you're going to see some team spring into action. If that second quarter, if if Tennessee makes that big move up and takes a Will Levis or a C.J. Stroud, then I think you would start to see maybe a little bit more motion with trades in the top 10 picks. Schefter, good stat. It's been 4 years since we've had a draft night pick traded in the top 9. So don't know if that. I think that changes tonight. That'll be my last prediction before we go on the air at 6. Thanks to everybody for participating. Thanks to Ken Trahan. Jacob Hester is on site for us at the NFL Draft from Kansas City. For Jacob Beck and for Mario Jerez, I'm Charles Hanniger saying thank you and good afternoon. Stay tuned for Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
All you gotta do is smile.